If you think holding on to your belongings only makes your home feel crowded, think again. A study from Princeton University found that clutter in your living space reduces your ability to focus, raises cortisol, the stress hormone, and directly affects sleep quality and heart health. And for older adults, those effects can run even deeper. The items you're holding onto, sometimes out of sentiment, sometimes just out of habit, might be quietly wearing down your health day by day. Mrs. Lorraine, 76 years old, lives alone in a small house in the suburbs of Kentucky. She always considered herself a tidy person, but her medicine cabinet is packed with old pill bottles, some expired as far back as 2018. Her living room has 3 chairs, but only one is still sturdy, and behind the TV cabinet lies a tangled web of cords that collects dust and triggers her allergies every afternoon. Just last month, she slipped in the kitchen, tripped by a plastic box she'd left there to clean up tomorrow. That fall landed her in the hospital for 6 days, and it was her doctor who told her the one sentence that changed everything. It's not your age that's making you weaker. It's the clutter that's keeping you from fully living your later years. In today's video on Senior Rise, you'll discover 12 items every senior should declutter immediately. Not just to tidy up your home, but to support a healthier body, a lighter mind, and a life where every extra day feels more meaningful, more present. Stay with us until the very end, because item number 12 is something almost everyone struggles with, and it may be the one thing silently stopping you from letting go of anything at all. 1. Outdated medical supplies. Hidden dangers in the medicine cabinet. When Lorraine returned home from the hospital after a minor fall, a nurse came by for a home safety check. One of the very first things the nurse did was open her medicine cabinet, and within seconds, the nurse frowned. This medication expired 4 years ago. Did you know that? Oh, I forgot. I thought I'd just keep it. Just in case. The phrase, just in case, might be the most dangerous thing hiding in a senior's medicine cabinet. Inside Lorraine's cabinet, there was a bottle of headache pills that had expired in 2018, a box of adhesive bandages with torn packaging, and a broken blood pressure monitor she kept just to be safe. Have you ever looked into your own medicine cabinet and found things you can't even remember buying? Keeping outdated medical supplies isn't just clutter, it's a real safety risk. And for older adults, many of whom take multiple medications, accidentally using an expired or ineffective product is a risk too easy to overlook. The good news? Cleaning out your medicine cabinet doesn't have to be complicated. You can start today by taking out all your medications and devices and laying them out on the table, checking the expiration date on every single item, disposing of anything that's old, broken, or no longer needed. And remember, never throw medications directly in the trash. Instead, take them to your local pharmacy or a safe disposal center in your area. Now, I want you to imagine this. Next time you have a headache or a sudden spike in blood pressure, you open your cabinet and know for sure that everything inside is safe, effective, and ready to help you. No more worry, no more clutter, just peace of mind. When was the last time you checked your medicine cabinet? Did you discover something that had expired years ago? Share your story in the comments. Your experience might be the gentle nudge someone else needs to take their very first step toward a safer, healthier home. 2. Paper clutter, the quiet stress hiding in old documents. For those who lived through a time before computers, smartphones, or cloud storage, paper was the only way to keep life organized. Bills, letters, receipts, notebooks, user manuals, all carefully saved because you never know when you might need them. Lorraine was no exception. She kept an old tin box filled with utility bills dating back to 1992, a stack of outdated bank statements, and a user manual for a washing machine she had replaced over 10 years ago. At first, she thought keeping them made sense, just in case. But every time she opened the cabinet, she felt a wave of unease. Not because there wasn't enough space, but because each piece of paper seemed to whisper, "You still haven't dealt with me." Paper doesn't just take up physical space, it clutters your mental space too. Every unpaid bill, every unopened envelope becomes a silent reminder you have unfinished business, even when that business no longer matters. A UCLA study found that visually cluttered environments, especially with paper, elevate stress hormone levels. This is especially true for older adults living alone. Have you ever walked past a pile of paper and thought, "I'll get to that this weekend"? But the weekend came and went. So why not start today with just 10 minutes? Pick one small stack and sort it into 3 simple categories: keep, medical records, legal documents, tax paperwork from the last 7 years, digitize if needed, using your phone or a scanner, and the rest, shred or recycle. You might be surprised to realize what's been causing you stress isn't the act of sorting, it's the weight of putting it off. Lorraine shared that after clearing out just 3 drawers, she slept better that entire week. "I didn't feel like something was hanging over me anymore," she said. "I could finally see my desk. And more importantly, I could see clearly in my mind too." How long have you been holding onto your papers? What's the oldest document still tucked away somewhere in your home? Share your story in the comments, because when you speak up, someone else might see themselves in your words and find the courage to begin. 3. Unworn clothes, when the past takes up the space of the present. Lorraine's wardrobe used to bring her joy every time she opened it, but over time, it became less of a closet and more of an archive of years gone by. There was the heavy winter coat she wore on a trip to Denver in 1995, the blue floral dress from her daughter's graduation, and the old pairs of jeans she always believed she'd wear again. Once I lose a few pounds, but those pounds never quite went away. Have you ever stood in front of your closet, looking at each hanger like you're reading pages of a diary? For many people, clothes aren't just clothes. They're pieces of the past, parts of us we're not quite ready to let go of. But holding on to everything is like stacking up layers of nostalgia. It turns the simple act of choosing what to wear into a quiet tug of war. Should I keep this or not? Will I ever wear it again? Is this still who I am? For a long time, Lorraine avoided opening the left side of her wardrobe, the side where she kept the shirts her late husband once adored seeing her wear. She didn't wear them anymore, but she couldn't bring herself to let them go either. Until one quiet autumn afternoon, she took out her phone and photographed each piece as a way of saying thank you, then folded them gently into a donation bag for her local church. Do you have something in your closet that's just gathering dust? A piece of clothing you know deep down you'll never wear again, but still hold on to because it's hard to say goodbye? Share your story in the comments, because sometimes writing it down is the first step toward letting go. And remember, when you declutter your wardrobe, you're not just making space for new clothes, you're making space for your present self to walk through life a little lighter, a little freer, and to love this body exactly as it is today. 4. Outdated electronics, memories that no longer plug in. There's a drawer in Lorraine's home that she jokingly called her time capsule. Opening it felt like stepping into the past. An old flip phone, an MP3 player, charging cables she couldn't match to any device anymore. A remote control she was fairly certain belonged to a VHS player. That VHS player? It was thrown out back in 2011. Do you have a drawer like that in your home? We don't keep old electronics because we still use them. We keep them because once they meant something. They connected us to the world, to our children, to music, to moments in time. But time moves on. Technology changes. And what was once essential becomes something that just sits there, gathering dust, taking up space in the drawer and in the heart. Lorraine once held onto her late husband's phone simply because his voice was still recorded on it. One day, the phone stopped charging, and that moment shattered her. I kept it because it felt like a piece of him. But now that I can't hear it anymore, it just breaks my heart. Later, her granddaughter helped transfer the voice recording onto a computer and printed out a photo with the words from that message. The physical device was gone, but the memory remained, in a way that felt lighter and kinder. If you have outdated electronics lying around, try this. Gather them all together. Check what still works. See what can be donated or safely recycled. And keep only what truly holds meaning in a new, safer, more thoughtful way. How many mystery charging cords are you still holding on to? Is there something you've kept just in case, but that day never really came? Share your story in the comments. Maybe by putting it into words, you'll feel ready to open that drawer and begin to let go. Because sometimes, in order to fully live in the present, we must accept that some connections were meant to be unplugged. 5. Toxic relationships. Decluttering the heart, not just the home. Some relationships make us smile just thinking about them, but others, though no longer part of our daily life, still leave deep marks on the heart. Lorraine once shared that for 12 years after retiring, she stayed in touch with an old colleague. They spoke on the phone weekly, catching up, exchanging pleasantries, but after every call, she felt drained. The friend would always complain, compare, and guilt her for not trying hard enough to stay in touch. One day, after hanging up, Lorraine broke down in tears. Not because she was hurt, but because she finally realized the call wasn't a connection anymore. It had become a heavy obligation. Have you ever held on to a relationship because of the past, not the present? Sometimes clearing out our homes brings these realizations to light. A birthday card from a friend who no longer checks in. A photo with someone who left, but whose memory still stirs emotion. Even those phone calls you feel you should answer, though each one leaves you feeling more tired than before. At this stage of life, we begin to understand. Not everyone is meant to walk with us until the end. And that's okay. Letting go of someone doesn't always mean resentment. Sometimes it's the most loving thing we can do for our peace, for our well-being, for our ability to breathe freely again. If there's a relationship in your life that leaves you hurting, exhausted, or lost, it might be time to set a boundary. You don't need to be angry, just take a step back. Choose to protect your energy for those who lift you, believe in you, and make you feel at ease simply by being near. Have you ever had to walk away from a relationship in your life? How did it feel in that moment? If you feel ready, share your story in the comments. It might be your way of decluttering your heart today. Because sometimes the thing we most need to let go of isn't sitting on a shelf. It's quietly resting inside our hearts. And if you're still here, listening with us, thank you. It means the world to walk this journey with you, layer by layer, letting go of what no longer serves and making space for something lighter. What are you feeling after hearing these first 5 truths? Did something speak to you or bring back a memory from your own life? Leave a comment below. Because when you share your heart, you not only open yourself, you might also help someone else feel a little less alone on their path too. 6. Dusty books. Are we holding on to knowledge or just the past? There's something mysterious about books. They never speak aloud, yet each one carries its own voice in our memory. Lorraine once had 3 overflowing bookshelves, not because she was a collector, but because she simply couldn't part with any of them. Some books she'd never opened, bought because someone had recommended them. Some she started but never finished, promising herself to pick them up again next season. And then there were the novels her late husband used to love, books she kept because letting them go felt like losing another piece of him. Are you holding on to books you know deep down you'll never read again? Sometimes we keep books as a way of holding on to our youth. Those curious, eager days when every book felt like an adventure waiting to unfold. But as the stack grows higher each year and our reading habits quietly change, a quiet question begins to form. Why am I keeping these? Lorraine once told her granddaughter, "I think I keep books because I fear that if I stop reading, I'll lose a part of myself." But one afternoon, her 12-year-old granddaughter came to visit, looked at the shelves, and asked, "Grandma, can I take some of these books home with me?" Lorraine smiled, selected 10, and replied, "Take them all, sweetheart. I've held on long enough. Now, it's your turn to read." If you have books you haven't read, or know you won't read again, it may be time to let them go. Let them find new hands, new eyes, new hearts. Your local library, community center, or even a young neighbor might be the perfect next chapter for those pages. Because the memories don't live in the paper. They live in the places you read them, the feelings you had as you turned the pages, and the quiet truths that stayed in your heart. Is there a book you know you'll never give away? Share its title in the comments. Maybe someone else has read it too, and from those old memories, a new connection may bloom. Because sometimes sharing a book is also sharing a part of your life, so someone else may continue the story. 7. Excess furniture. When one extra chair could cause a fall. Lorraine's living room used to feel cozy. There was her favorite armchair for reading, a long sofa that could seat 3, and then 2 wooden chairs she couldn't remember placing there, a coffee table she barely used, and a small cabinet that once held a cassette player, now just filled with tangled cords and dusty photo frames. She never thought of her home as crowded until the day she tripped over a table leg while carrying a tray of tea. Thankfully, it was just a scrape, but that moment made her freeze. Have you ever felt like you have to squeeze your way through your own home? Over time, we add things, rarely subtract. A chair, just in case guests come. A table so I don't have to fold it up each time. Cabinets to store. Things we haven't figured out yet. But at a certain age, too much furniture is no longer a matter of style, it becomes a quiet risk. Narrow walkways make movement stressful, especially when carrying things, or just getting up in the middle of the night for a glass of water. Lorraine once said, "I lost the sense of ownership over my home because I kept having to dodge the furniture, like I was a guest in my own space." If you find yourself not using a piece of furniture, not sitting on it, not needing it, maybe it's time to let it go. You don't have to do it all in a day. Just try this. Stand in the middle of the room, look around, and ask, does this still serve the life I live today? Have you ever tripped over something in your home? Is there a piece of furniture you keep out of habit, but no longer need? Share in the comments. Your story might help someone avoid a fall they never saw coming. Because at this stage of life, protecting each step means protecting your independence. 8. Forgotten hobbies. When old passions become new burdens. In the corner of Lorraine's bedroom sat a large box. Inside were oil paints, brushes, a color palette, everything untouched since she turned 65. Right after retirement, she was excited to learn painting. She bought an online course, stocked up on supplies, and even set up a little art table by the window. But then, life happened. Her husband got sick. She put painting on hold. Then, her daughter moved to another state, and Lorraine found herself traveling often to visit her grandchildren. The art table slowly turned into a drop-off spot, then gathered dust. Are you holding on to items from a passion you no longer pursue? Maybe it's a half-finished knitting project, guitar strings that haven't been touched in years, a box of pottery clay, or gardening tools from a spring long gone. Sometimes we keep these things as a reminder. I used to love this, but instead they make us feel guilty, because every time we see them, we remember what we never finished. Lorraine once said, "I felt ashamed when I looked at my brushes, like I had let myself down." Then she did something different. She packed all her art supplies into a box, wrote a note, and taped it outside. Once loved, now ready to be loved by someone else. She donated it to a local community center that was offering free painting classes for seniors. If you're holding on to tools for a hobby you no longer follow, ask yourself, am I keeping this because I still want to do it, or because I feel bad that I didn't? You can pass them on, gift them, repurpose them. Just don't let old passions become burdens on your present joy. Have you had a hobby you once loved, but no longer follow? What's one thing you've kept from it? Share in the comments. Your story might inspire someone else to either start again or let go more gently. Because sometimes clearing space from an old dream is how we make room for new joy. 9. Unused kitchen gadgets. When conveniences only make cooking more tiring. Lorraine's kitchen used to be a joyful place. Every holiday, she would bake pies, cook family recipes, and set each dish with care. But these days, every time she opens a cabinet, she sighs. A juicer she used only twice, a bread maker, her retirement gift to herself, now tucked behind the oven, an air fryer from her daughter, still in its original box. Have you ever had to move one thing just to reach the pot you actually use? A kitchen isn't just for cooking. For many older adults, it holds routines and a sense of independence. So when it feels cluttered, we don't just feel annoyed, we feel like we're losing control over our lives. Lorraine once said, "I use one pot and one pan, but it takes me 5 minutes to dig them out every time." The tools that once brought excitement are now just in the way. You don't have to throw everything out. Just ask yourself, when did I last use this? If it's been over 6 months, maybe you don't need it as much as you thought. You can pass it on to someone who might appreciate it, or place it in a maybe box. And if you still haven't touched it in 3 months, it might be time to let it go. How many gadgets are sitting in your kitchen that you know you'll never use again? Is there something you bought because it seemed so convenient, but never even opened? Share in the comments, not to feel guilty, but to help each other learn how to let go without regret. Because sometimes you don't need more tools to make life easier. You just need fewer things getting in the way. 10. Regret and guilt. When the heaviest things at home have no shape at all. There was a room in Lorraine's house she almost never entered. It used to be her husband's study. After he passed, she left everything as it was. The papers, the bookshelves, his favorite coffee mug, and the coat he always draped over his chair. Every time she walked past, she'd glance at the half-closed door and turn away. "I'm not ready," she would say. But as the years went on, it wasn't just the grief that kept her from cleaning the room. It was guilt. Guilt for leaving things untouched for so long. Guilt for feeling that cleaning meant erasing him. Guilt for not doing it sooner. For feeling like she had missed the right time. Are you holding on to something like that? A box of letters you still can't bring yourself to read. An apology you never sent. A memory you wish you'd handled differently. No one teaches us how to let go of feelings like these. So we tuck them under pillows, wrap them in old scarves, or place them in the back of a drawer, hoping we'll be stronger tomorrow. And then one day, Lorraine walked into that room. No drama, no tears, just slow, gentle movements. She touched the old coat, folded it neatly, and whispered, "Thank you. You don't need to erase every memory. You just need to keep what helps you move forward, not what keeps you standing still." Have you ever held on to regret? Is there a mistake you still haven't forgiven yourself for? If you feel ready, write it down. Not for others to understand, but for you to finally breathe a little easier. Because sometimes the thing we most need to declutter is the part of the heart that still hasn't healed. 11. The fear of throwing away the wrong thing, holding on to everything to avoid one mistake. Lorraine used to keep a bag under her desk, labeled papers, not sure if important. Inside were documents like her home purchase receipts from the 1980s, old car lease contracts, and expired warranty slips. She couldn't remember when she put them there. She only remembered one thing. "I was afraid. What if I accidentally threw away something important?" Have you ever thought that way? Maybe it's an old notebook, a gift from someone long ago, or a small item no one else understands but you. You keep it because, what if I need it someday? You keep it because, I'm not sure I should let it go yet. You keep it because, if I toss it by mistake, I'll never forgive myself. This fear isn't silly. It's the mind's way of protecting us from regret, from the sting of even the smallest mistake. And at our age, even little mistakes can carry heavy self-blame. Lorraine once said, "I can throw away an old sweater easily, but when it's paperwork or something sentimental, I freeze. I don't know where the line is between being careful and being obsessive anymore." Eventually, she found a gentle solution. She created a box, labeled, "Review in 3 months." Every item she hesitated over went into that box. If 3 months passed without needing it, thinking about it, or if the emotional weight had lessened, she let it go. Are you holding on to something just because you fear the regret of letting it go? Are you putting off decisions because you're afraid of being wrong? Share in the comments, not to judge yourself, but to remind one another you are allowed to make mistakes, and you are allowed to feel lighter. Because sometimes, one small fear can make us carry a burden we never needed to hold. You've just walked with me through 11 things that may seem small, but each one can quietly harm your health, steal your peace, and pull you away from the life you truly want to live. From the medicine cabinet filled with expired pills, to the extra chair in the middle of the living room. From forgotten hobbies to unspoken forgiveness toward yourself. It's not that you're not strong enough to declutter, it's just that no one ever taught you how to let go without guilt. But you know what? Decluttering, when done the right way, isn't about losing anything. It's your way of saying to yourself, I choose to live lighter. I choose to let my remaining days feel fresher and freer. Lorraine, your gentle companion from Kentucky throughout this video, once said something so simple, yet deeply true. And perhaps you'll see yourself in her words. I don't declutter to have a clean house. I declutter because I don't want to spend another day living in the past or being someone I no longer am. And you can begin too. Today, you don't need to do much, just one small bag, one drawer, one quiet promise to yourself. I deserve a home and a heart that feels light again. If you're still watching at this point, thank you, truly, for giving this time to yourself, for listening patiently to each real moment and honest story. Now, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of the 12 touched you the most, and where will you begin your own reset? Your story might be exactly what someone else, living alone in a quiet room, just like you, needs to feel a little less alone. This is Senior Rise, where we grow gently and wholeheartedly beyond 60. If you found this video meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe. Not for us, but for someone out there who's just starting over and needs to know they're not alone. I'll see you in the next video where we won't just talk about decluttering your space, but about refreshing your heart, one soft, healing day at a time.